The Red Dragon. Author James Dowell. As prophetic events seem to be happening in quick succession in the world around us, we often forget to look up, as we're too distracted by our daily lives to give much thought to what might be happening around our fragile planet. You may or may not be aware, but a very literal interpretation of the great sign of Revelation 12:1-2 is going to happen this year on September 23rd, and the process itself began last December, according to the computer models of our solar system. This event hasn't happened in the last several thousand years, nor will it again happen for another several thousand years. For those who are unaware of what this exactly entails, allow me to give you a brief overview. According to 3D computer models of our solar system, this is going to be the Earth's perspective of Virgo on September 23rd, 2017. To recap, Revelation 12:1-2 is as follows. 1. And there appeared a great wonder in the heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. 2. And she being with child cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. So there's an accurate depiction of verse 1. We have the constellation Virgo, the Virgin, with a crown of 12 stars, 9 of them being the constellation of Leo, and 3 of them being roaming stars, planets, that we call Venus, Mars, and Mercury. Virgo is clothed with the sun, and has the moon at her feet, but what about verse 2? It turns out that Jupiter, also known as the king planet, entered the womb of the constellation of Virgo on December 16, 2016, and due to retrograde motion in regards to how Jupiter orbits the sun, it will move, i.e. travel, back and forth in Virgo until it is birthed in September of 2017. The curious thing is that if you take the start date 12/16/2016 and count until 9/23/2017, you get 282 days, including the end date. This is just over 40 weeks, or just 2 days over the length of average healthy human pregnancy. Here is Jupiter entering Virgo on December 16, 2016. Here's where Jupiter is located in April of 2017. And here is the picture we're presented with on September 23rd, 2017. Personally speaking, I find it to be very neat and fascinatingly accurate depiction of Revelation 12:1-2. But what about verse 3? Verse 3. And there appeared to be another wonder in the heaven, and behold a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. So it turns out there is something hiding in Virgo, which is being censored by SkyMap, and partially censored by Google Sky, but perhaps unintentionally left buried and uncensored in old NASA.gov archive. Let's start with the basics. The box shows the area where we're going to be focusing on. Now compare it with the above image where Jupiter is going to be on September 23rd for future reference using SkyMap. Now once you switch the iris to infrared astronomical satellite, you're presented with this. Interesting, isn't it? Now why on earth would knowledge that should be readily available to the public be censored, and only in the infrared spectrum? Fortunately, SkyMap isn't the only program available for us to look at. So here's a look at the constellation of Virgo in Google Sky Maps to give you a frame of reference. And now here's a look at the same area zoomed in using infrared imaging with Google Sky. Now do you see it? This in itself proves nothing, but one has to wonder why this particular patch of sky is being censored. Thankfully, NASA has an archive of have several types of infrared images of this patch of space stored deep in a .gov website archive. Also, there will be a link in the description box for this patch of sky in both SkyMap and Google Sky. Now here's where it gets very interesting. According to NASA, this is what is sitting behind the censored patch of sky. Now compare the above to the partially censored patch of sky in Google Sky, and you'll find that they match up visually. Compare the coordinates to the pictures in NASA archive, and you'll find that they are in the same location. Now, is it just me, or do I see two eyes, or a snout, and a smiling row of teeth? Not only does it remarkably resemble a dragon, but it also happens to be sitting exactly where it needs to be in order to fulfill the following verse of Revelation 12-4. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child, as soon as it was born. As in, if you check the location of whatever this thing is, and compare it to Jupiter, will be on September 23rd, 2017. It's standing right in front of it. September also happens to be a Jubilee Feast of Trumpets, 50 years since Israel took back Jerusalem, also known as Rosh Hashanah. Pardon the pun, but given that these things very accurately match prophetic texts written 1,900 plus years ago in advance, I find the odds of it all being nothing more than a coincidence to be absurdly astronomical.